Do you remember that specific day, the day your life was split into two completely different halves? There's the person you were before that day and the person you became after. For me, this massive divide wasn't caused by a global disaster or a dramatic accident. It was caused by a small, simple white piece of paper printed at a medical laboratory. I vividly remember sitting in my doctor's office. He was speaking, but suddenly, the room felt like it was underwater. I lost the ability to hear his words clearly. Out of all the medical jargon, my brain only caught one single sentence. You have diabetes. Type 2. In that exact moment, I didn't feel any physical pain, but I felt a psychological earthquake striking the very core of my identity. My mind immediately started playing a terrifying cinematic montage. How could my body, the body I've lived in and relied on for decades, betray me like this? How am I going to live tomorrow? Will I be deprived of every food I enjoy? Am I destined to become a prisoner to endless medications and hospital visits? Welcome, everyone. Today, I'm going to take you on a highly personal journey, a journey I have lived through day by day. We are going to merge this personal experience with a fascinating, recently published 2024 qualitative study. We will explore exactly how the human mind processes this massive shock, and more importantly, how we can conquer it. In the days and weeks immediately following my diagnosis, I was living in a dense, heavy fog. In scientific literature, researchers call this the layperson's understanding of diabetes. I started looking back at my recent past. Suddenly, all those strange, random symptoms made perfect sense. The overwhelming exhaustion that would hit me in the middle of the afternoon, the sudden dizzy spells, the mysterious tingling in my hands and feet, and that unexplainable lethargy. It wasn't just normal tiredness. It wasn't just stress from working too hard. It was my body desperately screaming for help. Sugar was flooding my bloodstream, but it couldn't find its way into my cells. My cells were literally starving for energy while I felt completely drained. I kept asking myself, why me? Was it because my father had it? Science clearly tells us that genetics load the gun. Or was it the chronic stress of modern life that finally pulled the trigger? In this early stage, you view the disease as an invisible monster. You feel an absolute loss of control. You try desperately to make sense of the chaos inside you. Fear takes the wheel. Fear of wounds that might never heal, and fear of a dark future you constantly read about online. But then a defining moment arrived. I looked at myself in the mirror one morning and asked, how long will I play the victim? How long will I let fear dictate the rest of my life? This is where the second phase begins, the phase of mastery. I made a firm decision to study my enemy. Diabetes cannot be treated by ignoring it. It can only be defeated by understanding it. I transitioned from a terrified patient waiting for doctor's orders into an absolute expert on my own specific condition. I remembered reading about a participant in the research study, a 57-year-old man who said, when I first heard the news, I was devastated. But then I decided to read everything I could about the disease, and I learned how to live with it. He moved from panic to knowledge, and knowledge is our greatest weapon. I started diving deep into medicinal chemistry. How does insulin actually work? I began to visualize insulin as a key and my body cells as locked doors. In type 2 diabetes, the key is still there in your hand, but the lock is heavily rusted. I finally understood that type 2 diabetes can actually be managed and sometimes reversed simply by cleaning out those rusted locks through lifestyle changes. I started closely monitoring how my unique body responded to different foods. What happens to my blood sugar when I eat refined carbs? And how dramatically different is the result when I eat a plate of fresh greens? What happens when I take a brisk 30-minute walk? How does my blood sugar magically drop without any extra medication? This phase restored my self-esteem. As the research clearly highlights, when you fully accept the disease as a part of your reality and understand its mechanics, living with it becomes significantly easier. I was finally the captain of my ship again, not a terrified passenger hiding in the lower deck. Managing diabetes every single day requires an endless stream of decisions. What am I eating for lunch? Did I take my pill? Have I moved enough today? This continuous mental burden generates a tremendous amount of psychological stress. How do we overcome this daily burnout? This brings us to the third crucial phase: survival competence and the search for inner peace. The 2024 study proved that patients who lean into spirituality, mindfulness, or faith build a powerful shield against the anxiety of chronic illness. There was a beautiful story of a patient in the study who found profound peace through daily meditation and spiritual reading. He noted that achieving mental calmness gave him the physical strength to fight his illness. Whether you find it through deep prayer, mindful meditation, or simply trusting in a higher power, surrendering the things you cannot control is incredibly liberating. When the numbers overwhelm me, I disconnect. I focus on my faith. I remind myself that I have done my part. I have taken the scientific steps, and the rest is out of my hands. This deep sense of acceptance provides an astonishing level of tranquility. And this isn't just poetry, it is pure biochemistry. When your mind calms down, your adrenal glands stop pumping out cortisol and adrenaline, the primary stress hormones. When cortisol drops, your liver stops dumping emergency glucose into your bloodstream. Your blood sugar readings instantly become more stable. Inner peace is not just comfort for the soul. It is a literal physiological medicine that regulates your body's response to diabetes. Years have passed, and I have finally reached the stage of successful adaptation. Diabetes is no longer a stranger I fear. It has become a companion I understand and respect. I completely transformed my diet, and my daily exercise routine is now non-negotiable. I realized that pharmaceutical drugs alone cannot create a miracle. Integrating prescribed medical treatments with natural home remedies and behavioral changes is the ultimate secret to taking back your health. Sometimes, I practice what psychologists call positive denial. I live my days as a completely normal human being. I travel. I work. I enjoy my life to the fullest. Diabetes does not define my identity. It is simply a very small part of my daily routine. Now, as a researcher and as someone who walked this long, difficult path and survived the shock, here is your practical blueprint, extracted directly from the latest scientific research and the real-life experiences of those who conquered this condition. Rule number 1, self-management is your ultimate fortress. Do not leave your health to chance. Check your blood sugar regularly. Know what triggers your spikes. Become your own doctor in the kitchen, because your kitchen is your primary pharmacy. Rule number 2, exercise is not an optional hobby. It is mandatory medicine. The research documents patients who maintained perfectly stable conditions for over a decade, without any severe complications, simply by walking long distances every single day. Your skeletal muscles are the largest consumers of glucose in your entire body. Build your muscles, and you will burn your excess sugar. Rule number 3, complementary medicine is fantastic, but it has a specific place. Using cinnamon, herbal teas, and natural recipes is highly beneficial, but they are meant to support and complement your primary treatment. Never replace it. Never stop your prescribed medication without consulting your healthcare provider. Integration is the key to safety. And finally, rule number 4, never neglect your mental health. Treat your daily stress with meditation, prayer, or a quiet walk in nature. A calm mind equals a rested pancreas and highly stable blood sugar. As we conclude this long journey today, I want to tell you one thing straight from the heart. Diabetes will not destroy your life unless you give it permission to do so. It simply strips away your bad habits and hands you a golden opportunity to live a much more disciplined, healthy, and conscious life. You're not just a number on a glucose monitor. You are a strong, resilient human being, highly capable of adapting and fully capable of winning. Share with me in the comments below. Which phase of adaptation do you find yourself in right now? Are you still in the shock phase, the mastery phase, or have you finally found your peace? What is the biggest obstacle standing in your way today? Please share this video with anyone who has been recently diagnosed and desperately needs this knowledge to calm their fears. Stay healthy, stay aware, and always stay strong.